Hello, everyone. Welcome to Raw, Hard, and Real. I'm here today with a very special guest, Andy Decor. How are you today, man?
Ciao, guys. Ciao. It's really an honor to be there, to be invited to Raw and Hard and Real. And I'm happy to be here to talk about music and whatever you want, so let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Thank you very much for accepting this.
Yeah.
We have been talking for quite a while, but
Yeah.
things about life, it wasn't happening until today.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm really glad.
Yeah. I'm happy to, man. Really.
Yeah. Okay, I want to start with the festival season. Because we're right now during summer, so how it has been for you and how is it going to be during the summer?
Yeah. Actually, this year was a little bit quiet. If I compare to the other festival, to the last year and whatever. The thing is that after the COVID, definitely there was like a little bit of down. In all the scene for the artists that in that time that were like on a good level. I mean, in my opinion, like in 2018, 2019, I had a lot of gigs, especially in the festivals, also in the Netherlands. After that, it was a little bit hard to get back because in the meanwhile, many other new guys comes on the scene, right? So I got festivals, of course. I just play at DEF CON, but if I compare to the past festival season, the past years was a little bit down. But that's also because it's the trend now for the hardcore music is really focused on up tempo. That's also my kind of music. But I'm doing something different, and I can understand that now, especially the last 2 years probably, it's really, really focused on that. Every stage is basically up-tempo, but this kind of up-tempo. I'm doing something different, and probably that's why I got less booking in the Netherlands, but I got a lot of bookings in Spain, in France, Germany. Spain and France are my two, best country. I play
countries.
Yeah, for now, yeah. Of course, I missed some festivals, but I'm sure next year I'm gonna be back because I do some things in the back, right? So I'm doing stuff. I'm doing new collaborations. So I think next festival will be better than this one. But I in my life I played in every festival basically. So I got the chance to be in every festival. So I cannot be angry or whatever. It is what it is. The time changed. And you need to adapt. That's the only way to survive. You need to find your role in the game. That's what I want to describe the situation. It's like a football game. You got your role. Yeah. If the rules change, you need to adapt, or you stay in the back, right? So that's the story.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually true. I never thought about that, but yeah, you have to adapt, or you will get probably less gigs. And how's the festival season in Italy? Do you have hardstyle festivals or hardcore?
Italy, unfortunately, is really the worst country for this kind of stuff. If you go if you see the situation in Spain, you're from Spain, right? So if you see Spain, Spain and France became huge in terms of doing festivals, really huge. They are. I mean, of course, the numbers are a little bit different from the Dutch market, but the production and the level of the quality of the festival in Spain and France is getting really high. Italy, it's not because we don't want, it's not because we don't have the promoter, because we got festivals. We got Hardcore Italia, we got Florida, Emotions, we got United Hardcore Forces. There's many productions. The problem is the Italian rules are really bad. And I mean the laws, right? So if you want to organize something, it's really hard. It's expensive, of course, but the problem is you got police, you got really a lot of controls. So what happened? Basically, to make it short, we had more, again, before 2019, we had more festivals probably. We had more options and many productions. And we had a good crowd, a good hardcore and hardstyle crowd. With that COVID, with that time, staying closed for 2.5, we lost a generation. Like there was some guys that are missing now. Like they stopped to listen to our music. Probably they're doing others. They're listening to other music. So now we are rebuilding our crowd because Dutch market is huge. I mean, hard music in Holland is pop music. You go to the McDonald's and they are set, right?
Yes.
So in Italy, it's not like that. So we need time to recover that. So I think with the time also we will have some new generation coming up, DJs and artists and audience. So if I need to make a comparison between the Dutch festivals and Italian festivals, Italian are good. They are party people. The problem is really our not government, our youth. Really, they are really not against, but it's really hard to organize something if we compare to Spain, France, and again the Netherlands. But we got festivals. Like for example, last Saturday was it Emotion Festival at Florida with Dutch names, with like festival vibes, right? So I hope we're still doing it better and better. In September we got Leaders, which is probably the biggest one with the biggest lineup. Let's say that, and it is number one, which is in north of Italy. So yeah, let's hope that during the year will be better and better. That's it.
Okay, and it's funny because, for example, I think that at least for me, also Italian producers are one of the best producers in the world. I mean, about hard music. Yeah, so it's kind of funny that you have a lot of really good Italian producers, but there's not like a huge scene. That's kind of weird.
You're totally right. It's not because I'm Italian, but if you just study a little bit the history of our music, in my opinion, in my case, is more hardcore than our style, of course.
Yeah.
If we study the history, we had Traxxon Records pretty much in the same years of Masters of Hardcore. So there was like two lines, the parallel lines, you know, and the artists like you saying, like probably Mad Dog, Art of Fighter, the Seeker Squad, all these guys came from all the same label, because at the end, before 2018, 2019, we were all together. We were all in the same label, Traxxon. So and Hardcore Italia, which is which was and is the brand, the main hardcore brand. And there was a lot of like synergy and working together. Then Traxxon, the owner decided to do other stuff. So Traxxon Record doesn't exist anymore. And I think that was also a problem. Like all the Italian artists are now spread, are now, they work together, but there's no one leading stuff. And if you compare to the Netherlands, they are well organized. There's a lot of organization. There's a Masters of Arc or BKGN. As in our style, you have like Q-Dance, B2S, you know, there's a lot of artist communities, let's say that. So that's why also a lot of Italians, if they wanted to keep going with the career, so they said, we need to move. And they moved to the Netherlands. So they are not anymore also on the Italian ground. So when you need to book an Italian artist, and you are Italian, you need to book it like a Dutch artist, right? So also that is like a kind of a problem. So I think what we need now in Italy is more cooperation between the Italian artists, like a leading labels or a leading agency, right? It's a lot of work. So it's like I did my label, right, which is Red Vibes. The Seeker Squad did their label, but it's an effort you can put staying in the same effort of your DJ career. But building up an agency require a lot, right? So that's why we are a little bit like, I think, again, spread. Like we are like in a cloud. Compared to the Dutch market, it's more solid. They are more like unite, and you got Masters of Hardcore, you got BKGN and whatever. So that's the story. But you're totally right. I think that that was and that is the best way to make different music. The Italian hardcore was different from the Dutch hardcore, especially back in the days, and that was our like plus. because we never had the same organization for festivals as the Dutch market. So if you are an upcoming DJ, right, and they put you in the main stage of Masters of Hardcore, because you are Dutch probably, you got a huge crowd in front of you, and you can show your music to everybody. In Italy, if you start, we don't have that kind of crowd. So you need to start, you need to fight to be on that stage where the Dutch guy is playing. So I'm not saying that the Dutch market, it's easier, not at all. I'm saying that there's more opportunity to let your music be popular. Italy that's our problem. Let's say that.
Yeah. Also, you said something very important, and I thought about comparing it to Spain, for example. The most important artists, well, not the most important, for the artists that went to live to the Netherlands. You don't get to see them here in Spain.
That's it.
At least not that often. And as you said, it's because now you have to book them as international artists, and you have to pay for all the expenses, and and it becomes harder. And
sadly,
if you're in the Netherlands, it's a lot easier because most of the artists live there. So you get along with them, and it's easier to create a huge scene.
Yeah,
if everyone is there, and as you said, they are really united. That's
the thing. Really the thing is that also the Dutch, the Netherlands, it's a small country, and they do a lot of festivals because they understand that they make good money. So their government is smart, of course. So they are good at making festivals, but also they are supported by their own government. In Spain, you got a lot of strikes from police. In France, the same. In Italy, don't we talk about it? So our institutions are a little bit against this kind of stuff. Holland, they understand that this is a huge business. So let's keep going. Of course, we follow rules, but we let you do your stuff. And that's the first thing. So if you live in the Netherlands, you just take the car, and in half an hour, you can play at Dominator if you live there. And for the promoter, the cost of the lineup is really not that much. The costs are the organization, the laser show, and whatever. That's the main cost. But the cost of the lineup is it's cheap if you think about it, because you don't have flights, you don't have all the things you said. So as an artist, many artists goes there because it's easier to play, and that's a smart move sometimes.
Yeah, you just made me think about, for example, here in Madrid, Fabric.
Yeah,
they always bring huge lineups.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I was just thinking that how can they afford to do all of this? But I do know that since they own the place, and they have the hotel where they host the guests, and they have all this infrastructure, so it becomes a lot easier to have all of these events each month, which is always awesome. By the way, you said that you're playing a lot here in Spain.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Do you like it here?
Fabric, honestly, now it's probably the best hardcore club, talking about hardcore, because they make a lot of styles. But talking about hardcore, it's probably the best club in Europe, probably, talking about organization. And Nexus, the last time I was there, probably, and I think so, was the biggest hard festival ever made in Spain, probably, because the lineup was never saw something like that. I never see something like that. So that's what I'm talking about, because it's true, they got connection and they got the infrastructure, but still they are making something almost close to the Dutch market, and that's something I love about Spain. And that's why I always, every interview, it's like, which is the hottest crowd? I always say Spain is the hottest crowd, because they really party in a good way. There's a lot of good vibration in Spain. Every time you can go in Madrid, you can go in Valencia, you can go in Barcelona, whatever. The crowd is amazing, and honestly, for me, is one of my favorite countries to play. I'm not saying that because I don't need to leak ass of the Spanish promoter, but honestly, especially since the COVID finished, Spain gave me a lot of gigs, and the crowd is getting better and better. They're really into it. Was also like that back in the days, but now, as you said, Fabric, they are getting really huge. I mean, lineup, the last Nexus was incredible, and the effort you need to organize that, because you can imagine, you got flight cancellation, you got many sudden situation you need to adapt. And that's typical in the Dutch market. You got full flight delay, but the driver is there. What we need to do, we leave the artist there. So you got a lot of problem. It's not that easy. And Fabrik was able to organize something next level. So really, thumbs up for them.
Yeah. They are doing an incredible job.
Yeah.
And also the Spanish crowd, the Spanish public about the hard dance community is growing a lot on the past few years. And actually, it's funny because it was after the COVID, like everyone here in Spain started listening to hardcore music, to hardstyle, to all this kind of music, and they started creating events. So the scene is growing a lot. But I don't know, but at least we have probably like 1 or 2 events each weekend here in Madrid.
Yeah.
So
in Madrid, just in Madrid. In Italy, we got 2-3 events in the month everywhere. So you can like make a comparison, right? So, no, for real. I mean, that size of events. Of course, you got small guys, small organization that are making hardcore party in Italy. Yeah.
I mean, with national artists, or maybe they will bring just one international artist.
Yeah. But like as you said, the Fabrik is a thing. Then in Madrid you got Art Mission from exactly. And that's another big one. It's not small. Yeah. The same 2 weeks ago I was at Pontaeri. Hardcore conference was huge. Some days before I was in Spook Club in Valencia, was huge. So every time it's not small places. I mean, we're always talking about thousands of people. But in different cities. So it means, as you said, that the scene there is getting huge. You got the Mediterranean Festival. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and it's really good. It's really good for the market.
What has been your favorite event here in Spain to play at?
It's hard to say, because if you're talking about open air event, the event from Noes Ruido. They were huge. Based in the park I was last time was huge. I mean, really, the amount of people in the front, you got the same feeling as a Dutch festival almost. Talking about indoor, probably Fabrik, definitely. As a club, as like a club with walls, right? Not an open air festival. So probably Fabrik is definitely the best. But everyone can say that. I mean, it's not about because it's Fabrik. I mean, it's probably the best production. But you can also, like, again, when I said Spook Club, I never expected that. When I arrived there, there was an Italian guy working in the hotel, right? And said, this is my reservation, blah blah. And I said, I'm gonna play here tonight. And he said, you play a Spook Club? Yeah. Oh my God, I want to come. But the guy there knows exactly the club, so it means that in Valencia, it's like an institution. This place, this Spook Club, and it's funny because they are making hardcore music and also hardcore music. So it's beautiful to see that kind of situation we do not have in Italy, and that's sad for us. But it means that if you work in a good way, you can have pretty much the same result as the Dutch market, which is the biggest.
Yeah. Okay, Andy, now I want to talk about you, about your career.
Yeah.
I would like to get to know you and to get to know where did you start it. Like, what was your first approach to hardcore music?
I love to talk about this. I love. So So I started very young to produce music. Actually, that's why I'm 35 now, and I'm really playing since almost 16 years. Sometimes when I say that, if I go to a festival, sometimes I am in the car with other artists, and sometimes like, guys, I'm tired, right? And everybody's saying you are young, and I'm like, yeah, but it's 16 years in a row, no stop, man. I mean, it's a lot of time, and it's really my job since I getting out from the teenager part. So it's a long time. I started very young because my sister playing piano. He's a pianist.
Okay.
Now she's a teacher, but when we grew up together, she's older than me than 8 years, but we grew up listening to pretty much the same music because I was a kid. She was a little bit older than me, so she was able to introduce me to stuff like saying, listen to this track because it's beautiful, like say Linkin Park, for example, because she's also got a degree in English. So I learned English with songs, right? And video games. So I started to listen to this music very young, like rock, metal, crossover, like when I was 14, something like that, 13, 14. And then immediately when I started to listen to this kind of hard music, let's say it's hard music, like heavy music, it's not pop at all. I was like, I like this, but I want to hear this kind of stuff in an electronic way. I didn't know how was possible, but I was sure there was something. There was still some music that it was in my mind, but I didn't know the name. So searching and searching, I started to understand what was the name of that music, and I got into our style before hardcore.
Okay.
I get into our style because in Italy, back in the days, we had this like summer compilation. You know, but there was no internet, no Spotify, so there was like the CDs. Every summer you got this summer compilation which called Hitmania Dance. This compilation, that's really a funny story. You can hear this kind of music. Now it's totally different, but we're talking about almost like 17 years ago. So if you go like to out with friends, like in some clubs or just going around when you were a teenager, there was this kind of music. From Gigi D'Agostino, from Eiffel 65, was dance music mixed with progressive techno and whatever. But also in the same compilation, in the same pot, there was already some art style because Techno Boy, Tune Boy, you got track from DJ Isaac. There was inside that. So I hear in this music like Gigi D'Agostino, and the next track was Techno Jim from Techno Boy, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back with these kicks. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is this music? You know, there must be something. And then I searching, I understand that was hardstyle. In Italy, no one called that, was techno. In Italy, we call it techno, right? Immediately after that, I started to go to search for clubs. So I started to go to the dance, like, with my friends, right? So I started to get into hardcore because I started to go at Florida, number one. Our historical club, and then I heard hardcore music, and I was like, "Geez, that's the kind of vibration I want. That's the kind of let's say violence, right?" So at the time was Millennium, so it was a little bit slower than now, but it was with a lot of melody, with these aggressive vocals. And then I get into hardcore when I was 15. So again, to make it like a short story, so I always be a nerd, always be like on computer, like always be like that, playing games and always like trying to understand how a computer works. So always be a nerd in informatics stuff.
Nice.
So I downloaded immediately back in the days, Virtual DJ, Fruity Loops, and I started already to play with that stuff. So the first tracks I did were absolutely awful. But there was SoundCloud, so I uploaded a lot of them. I said, I'm doing this. Let's see what happens. I didn't want to become a DJ back then. I didn't even know what's going on, you know. I was just making this kind of industrial, distorted stuff. Put it online, and there was no Spotify at that time, so it was just YouTube and SoundCloud. So I just uploaded stuff. And step by step, some promoters started to call me from Belgium. Like, I was from Italy, but it's from Belgium. They say, "Hey, you want to come to play here?" I was like, "Okay, this stuff? Yeah, come to play." And then everything started, but was really a surprise for me at the beginning because I was really young. I was like 17, and I was like, they are asking me to play this music. Looks strange. I'm trying to simulate what I'm hearing from my favorite artists back in the days, Human Exist, Outside Agency, many guys. And they started to call me. So I say, okay, so now I need to improve. So this is how I start. It was not like, was a slow process, but it takes a lot of time. But the funny thing is that I grew up with hardcore music. And that's something I always tell, like when the guy comes to me, like, say, oh, Andy, I want to start to make it. I want to start to play. And I always like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. You need to follow your dream. You need to follow your passion, but don't focus on the final step. Don't focus on, I want to be on stage. And that's the problem now, because with the socials, you open with Instagram and you see this guy playing and you're like, I want to be there. But when I was 15, I was not even think about it. It was not even possible, right? I see Angerfest. It's Angerfest. I cannot play like him, right? And now, so they want to be there immediately. And what I'm saying to them, take your time and to understand if you really like what you're doing. And with the time you make music, you release music. Yeah, it's not good. You don't care if it's good or not. People will give you feedback, right? So if you want to be perfect, you will never be in a path that brings you to a career. Start to do your stuff, do your own thing, and then with the time start to achieve your result. But you need time. You definitely need time. That nothing happens like quickly. Yeah, it can happen if you go viral. That's something nowadays it can happen. But take your time, because if not, you burn yourself. Like, I want to be famous. I want to be there. I want to make music like you. But if just that it's your goal, the risk is that we will be really, how to say, maybe it will not go in the way you want, and you will be so disappointed.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I'm completely with you, because right now I think that people don't really focus, or not everyone, but most of the new artists don't really focus on being passionate about what they're doing. They are just trying to be famous, and that kind of ruins like the main goal of it. Like, if you're doing, as you said, just because you're passionate about it, because you like doing that, it's a lot more likely that you will succeed.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
If you're just going for the fame, you don't even know what you're really doing. It's like you need something good. You need to be passionate about what you're doing. You need to like it. You need to enjoy the process, because the process is actually the important part of it. It's not the consequence, which is going
to be it's like the typical like sentence. It's not the destination, it's the journey, which is sound like super cheesy. Yeah, but it is exactly. And many artists of my age and also older than me they will reply in the same way. But because we come from a generation that was like that, and adding some information about what you said, if there's a tutorial for everything now. If you open YouTube, you can be an engineer in some weeks. So there's a tutorial, like, you want to let's get engagement on social with these 3 steps. Let's make a hard kicks with this. I mean, and every guy that makes something with music, like, they make a track, and let's say bookings, name of the guy at bookings.com. The bio of Instagram is a copy paste of the other guy. It looks really sometimes strange, because you do not want to make music. You are already trying to be an artist. To be an artist that can be paid, and that's something wrong. That's something, but that's something the market also creates, because we got a lot of ghost producers, which many of them, and I know they are really close friends. Many of them, they are a huge producer, but the game now, as we said at the beginning, the game now got rules that they cannot be in the field to play, so they stay in the back making music. They need to be paid for that, so there will be always a guy saying, hey, you are good making music, I got a good looking, let's cooperate and go to play your tracks. But that is a product, it's not an artist. That is a product, because someone will pay you to pay, definitely, for a year or 2 years or maybe more, but the music you're bringing to the table, you're bringing to the place, you're bringing to the crowd, it's made by someone else. And you can do whatever you want. You're like, yeah, but I put all my ideas in it. You're not making it. And I'm not saying that ghost produced guy are wrong. Not at all. I'm saying that it's totally different. Because I'm doing my music and many other artists doing it, you can feel it, you know? And we are going in an era or in a time where probably also the DJ is not important anymore. Like, if you put a screen with a hologram, with a pre-recorded stuff, people are gonna dance, definitely. That's bad, That's something I really but that's something sad about the nowadays music industry, electronic music industry. Because at least as a singer, as to sing. Okay, there's autotune, but has to be there with their phone fit. Nowadays, you can, just a quick example. Defcon, you got a power hour, right?
Yes.
Power hour is probably the highlights in Defcon. Everyone is there. Everyone wants to be at the power hour, and all the DJs are scared to play in other areas because everyone is going away because they go to the power hour. The power hour is pre-recorded stuff. No one is playing there, but it's the most hype situation. Think about it. Think about it. There's no one playing there, but everyone is there. That's a clear message saying that we can also do party without the artist. That's something we need. We as artists, we need to think about it, and we need to not fight, but let understand people that you need to enjoy the music in a good way. And if you listen, like people that really enjoy listen to music, they're gonna understand that. I'm sure about it.
Yeah. I also think that the problem is that before we had like these DJs and the producer, and they actually didn't mix that much. Like the DJs were just DJs and the producers were just producers.
Yeah.
And everything became a lot easier both ways. Well, mostly on the DJ side, because it started to be like quite easy. Nowadays it's really easy to be a DJ.
It's super
easy. Except you have to read the people, and you want to make people dance, and it's kind of complicated. But if it's people just wanting to see this artist playing his music, it doesn't really matter because they just want to hear to you. They just want to listen to your music. So it's not that important nowadays. So what happened is that now, since producers, not most producers, but a lot of producers don't really feel like DJs, and it's easy. It's like, you don't have like this magic anymore.
Yeah.
So it's actually like, I don't know, it's not that important nowadays. So as you said, not for everyone, because
no,
a lot of good DJs.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's not as big as it was before because they had to mix these two parts.
I think that what you're saying is totally true, and also it's a result of the time we are living in. If you just imagine a world without Instagram, you will have DJs back. You will have DJs back. No one can. If you cannot share what you're doing in the DJ booth with an audience, I think the 90% of the guy will say, I will not. I don't want to play. I don't care. Because I need my video maker in the back that give me something to share on Instagram. We are so slaves of the socials. We are really slave of that. Every one of us. That's of course it's a big it's a topic. We need like 5 hours more to talk about it. But in music, it's sad. It's sad again because the promoters, the guy that make it possible to be to you as a customer to be there. It's a promoter. It's not a DJ. So it's a guy that put a lot of money, a lot of efforts to organize the party you are in. But that guy invests money and is his job. He wants his money back. And how it works now? This should be the game. You got 100,000 followers. So probably you're gonna sell the ticket better than a guy with 3,000 followers. Yeah, probably right. But maybe that guy with 3,000 followers is an amazing artist, is an amazing DJ. They're gonna break your club, but you will never know because you're gonna book the guy with the biggest numbers.
With the numbers,
yeah. But and that's a domino reaction because you as an artist will say, shit. So I got few followers. I need to invent something to get views. And so you became most of the time you became after the famous name. You became a content creator. You became a guy that trying to break to the social Instagram algorithm, and you're losing your path. Are you an artist or you are like a TV character, right? You are someone that entertain with music, or you are someone with entertain and just that. And that's domino reaction, because I'm not against that. I'm saying that it's getting on a different path. I will not say names, but there's a lot of artists that also in the hardcore scene that they are booked for the numbers they have because they get virals with socials, but maybe they don't have proper tracks, or they will not give you the proper DJ set. And that's it means that day by day we are losing quality on the festivals and on the lineups. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're completely right about it, because now people don't really focus on the music itself.
No,
it's more about how viral they see it, and how people want to see the guys that are on the social media, the guys that they say. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's bad music or
no, it doesn't mean that.
But it's, as you said, it's probably not the best. There are a lot of other really good artists that are making really good music, but they are not as good with social media.
Yeah.
So if they are not good with social media, that's a real problem nowadays. And I have said that in a lot of interviews. But nowadays, you have to do everything. You have to know to do a lot of stuff. And a lot of people are not good at it. And the social media is the biggest example. You need to be excellent at social media to get like a spot on any festival, for example. So I don't know. It's I see a lot of artists struggling, like good artists, like they have really good music,
except
they are not good with social media, and that's kind of sad, because I think that nowadays you also need a team. Like if you're going by yourself, it's going to be really, really hard. At least if you're not quite good with social media. I think nowadays it's probably most important to be big in social media than having better music.
It is 100%. That's sad because, again, if you see also other kind of music, it's not about electronic music anymore. It's about every kind of music, every kind of stuff. The now trap and drill, it's the popular music with the kids, right? So you got all these upcoming artists, but they are focused. Of course, they're focused on the image they want to give to the social. Because if you listen just to the track, it's pretty much the same. It's hard also to recognize an artist from another. So the same in electronic music. If you listen to music industry is like in a point where you need to make music this way because it is what it is. This is the way we're going to do it. But that's completely kill the artistic process. Completely. As I said, there's tutorials. I want to make music like Angerfist. Yeah, but Angerfist is Angerfist. You are not the guy. Make music as you guy, right? But that's a challenging point, because you need to compete. You need that your music pop up maybe in a situation where all the music is the same. But back in the days, that was the reason why we had Skrillex. Skrillex was out of the time, but dubstep already exists. But Skrillex bring dubstep to another huge level, and he didn't care about how, because if he cared, he should did like EDM, like trance music. He did whatever. He did an opposite stuff, and he break the market. And we can say many names like this, like Daft Punk, whatever. Every huge artist went against the current music, the mainstream. So if you always follow the mainstream, you are a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, and that's what's said. And as you said, I got many friends in this situation. I got many friends that they are brilliant producers. But they are producers. Being a producer is not like just making an hour of studio. Sometimes it requires maybe 7 hours, 8 hours per day to make something huge. And you are tired. You do not have time to think about a viral reel, because you spend all the day making music. And that's it. That guys probably, as we said, they will never have the spot they deserve, because they are not spending that same time on Instagram, but they're spending time in the studio. And that's sad. Yeah. But I hope maybe one day will change. I always think about it. I'm like, let's hope. I do my stuff, and let's see what happens. That's it.
Yeah. Also, you pointed out something really important. And I have noticed that nowadays we have a lot of really good artists. But the only problem is that they're copying or trying to make like the same style. And I feel like there are no that many authentic artists. Like they don't have like, their authentic sound. And every day I feel like we're losing authenticity into music. They are just trying to copy everything. But it's kind of weird because, as I said, it's good quality music, but it's just the copy of the copy of the copy.
Yes.
So they don't stand out except for doing doing real.
But if you make a comparison, like Eminem is back, and he did like this huge track, Houdini Abracadabra, right? And of course he's Eminem. Yeah, right. But it's 2024 and he made the track pretty much the same as 25 years ago, pretty much the same style. A lot of words, Eminem style. And that track is popular as hell. So it means that he's Eminem. He can do whatever he wants, of course. But he said, I don't care about the trend. I don't want to make another a track with autotune. I make Eminem stuff in 2024, pretty much the same stuff as 20 years ago, and it works. Imagine like Michael Jackson is back today and make a track in the Michael Jackson way, right? Everyone will be like, wow, because if you are good, you are good.
Yes.
If you are making good music, what you need is just the process, the delivery process. You need someone that bring that music to the top, or not to the top, to the audience in some way. Back in the days, we had this because we had labels. When we had labels, like when I said Trax or Masters of Hardcore, back in the days, you really needed to make a track and someone has to judge your music and say, this one sounds bad, like fix this, and we're going to release it. Because releasing was not just about a click, was about like selling vinyls, for example, or it cost more. So the label owner said, you want to release on my label, the track has to be perfect. Now you can produce yourself. You can just open the computer, open DistroKid and release your track. And you got no filters in the middle anymore. So the market is like really like full. Full, man. Every week you got 10 release, 20 release, something like that. That's good. Yeah, that's good. But if you sum this situation to the social part, the result is we got like a hell of tracks, a lot, and it's pretty much every track is the same. And if it's not the same, if it's not the trend, the big labels or the big company will not push your stuff because they cannot take a risk. They want to make money, right? You also want to make money, right? Okay. But the label needs to make money and say, this music is not popular anymore. But probably that track will be like a huge hit. As we said, like Eminem, like if you're Eminem, Universal Music will believe you. If you are a new guy, you need to prove that you are like you got the balls and you are strong. So it's also a little bit a fault of the labels. I think many art dance label need to release more different stuff. Quality stuff, yeah, definitely. You need to make quality music. I mean, definitely yes, but different. Like let's give a chance to also other kind of hard music be out. Let's say if I release everything on my label, I don't put boundaries. But for example, now early art style is not popular as raw style. But if a guy come and say, I got this huge banger, which is a early art style track, let's release it. You know, if I was like a manager in Dirty Works, for example, I say, yeah, let's try. But it's not like that because a huge label always like follow the line. Like if you go to Spinning Records, probably you listen to the last 25 release. It's hard that you can recognize if it's someone or someone else. It's probably the same track. That's sad a little bit, but it's the game, and these are the rules of the game now. So.
And who decides this? Like, who decides which music is popular? The labels or the crowd?
That's a good question. Let me drink and I try to answer.
Go ahead. And I also want to ask you something after this about this is just like a personal question.
Okay.
Not a personal question for you, mostly for me. But okay. I also love to listen to metal.
Oh man!
I just wanted to.
We can open up, man. You want to reply? If you want to reply on this, if not, first I reply on that one. It's better because this one needs times. So, I don't really know where is the breaking point. Labels, again, it's about the social. Every organization which most of the time are related to the label. Like, for example, Masters of Hardcore, it's a label, and is also event organization. Let's say that
an event. Yeah.
Okay. So what you are going to give to the crowd probably is the same stuff you're releasing on your label, because it's common sense, right? So if you are still pushing, like now it's September, right? Okay. If you're pushing that and you are just releasing that, what is going to happen is that if I am a young artist or upcoming artist, I saw your latest release, and I would be like, okay, if I want to release on Masters of Hardcore, which is like a huge goal in your career, I need to make this music, because I cannot hear anything different. So the question is the fault of the label or the crowd? The crowd, bro, the crowd is there. The crowd is there no matter what. Yeah, of course they got choice, because they can say, I stay home. Yeah, but if you listen to hard music, I say, I go to Thunderdome. I love hard music. I go to Thunderdome. You enter to Thunderdome and you got the music. What you cannot leave. And you pay flight ticket and the ticket entrance. You pay a lot of money. You need to stay there. But the promoter set is leading the music you are listening. So you are in the crowd, you are at Thunderdome, and you get 8 hours of pretty much the same music. For example, I'm not saying Thunderdome is wrong. I'm just saying an example, like Masters of whatever, Masters of Hardcore. So you are listening for 8 hours, 10 hours, that music. So imagine if you are a guy in the crowd, like a new artist. You are in the crowd and like, wow, I want to play there one day. What music I need to do? The music I listen to all the night? Probably. Yes. So at the end, it's not the crowd got no fault. Because the crowd is people. People listen to music. People doesn't care about everything we are saying most of the time. I mean, not this interview. Probably most of the guy will listen to it and say, wow, I didn't even imagine that, right? Because I didn't even imagine that was that back, these stories back. I just want to listen to the music. And you're totally right. You just need to listen to the music. So when you go in the car, you turn on the radio, you listen what the radio give you. If the radio give you trap music, that's the popular music, and will be for a long time. So at the end, it's not a fault, but it's a decision. It's a decision by the big corporation, big companies, and everything around that. And when it's going to happen that, like for example, as we said, a new Skrillex come, there would be some organization that say, wow, this guy is huge. Let's party in a main stage. And what is going to happen? Everyone will copy it. Everyone will. Yeah, it's obvious that it is what it is, and this is the process. But I think that it's never a fault of the crowd, and it's not a fault of the organization. It's the process. This is the way, and this is my honest opinion. I'm not against anyone. I'm not against it, but again, if I was a promoter, if I get the chance to get decision, I would probably make a lot of variations. For example, if I make a dream lineup, that lineup will be shocking. Like you need to start like back in the days. Like you start with the slowest BPM, you go fast, and it was like that. It was definitely like that before they invented the word uptempo. The Dutch market invented the word uptempo. It was like that. At the end, the fastest guy played at the end. I always play at the end every time. And sometimes I was so sick about it. I was telling to my agency, please guys, put me in the middle, because I don't want to play 5 o'clock every time, right? But that was normal, because before me there was 140, 50, 60, 70 BPM. So that's the answer to your question. Probably it's not a fault, it's a decision. And
I will add something. Maybe it's until the crowd gets tired.
Oh yeah.
Of the music style.
Definitely.
Then when the label is gonna say, okay,
yes,
we're starting to see that maybe the crowd is not liking this music.
Definitely.
They decide like, okay, we're gonna push now this kind of music, and they will start liking it because it's gonna be something different. And then it's like the cycle. It starts again.
That's the result of numbers. Yeah, when they go back home and they say, we had 5,000 tickets sell, The next time is 4,000. We need to do something. It's a business plan. We are talking about huge agency. We are talking about huge industry, but that situation that makes hardcore the way it is and underground music the way it is the small club, the small organization, the small situation where there are people that book you and they make a party with 200 people. They don't want to make, of course they want to make money, but it's not the first goal. I played many times I played in South America in small clubs because that guy said, I want to bring the hardcore in my town. And, but that's passion. That's you want to deliver underground music in your town and you want to show your people that you're able to do it, right? And the crowd is going to be crazy because they're not used to. But that's something that happens in small situation. Because when you are talking about big situation and there are many investors they need to invest a lot of money, they need to get the money back, man. And it's totally normal.
At the end, it's always a business.
Yeah, it's different level of business. But when it starts to be underground again, and it's going to be right now because with art techno started from that. There are many guys that left the hardcore scene to go to the art techno scene because it's harder. It's crazy to say, but it's harder for them because the sounds are again like dark underground, and that's why a lot of people move there or they're moving to just early hardcore party because they want that feeling back. And that's something I also noticed. Hardcore is becoming too much happy in my opinion. Too much. I'm not against anyone. I'm not against the styles, but it's getting too much bright. Let's say that. When I was a kid, I was entering in Florida, and it was like, oh wow, this underground situation. I can feel it. It was black, was dark,
like a dark vibe.
Yes, and that was hardcore, right? It's getting too much. They are trying. Always for the same reason, for the business. They are trying to take too much influence for the pop. You can see there's a lot of remixes of pop track. Too much, in my opinion. There's so much. Pop music. It's popular. That's why it's popular. We need to make hard music, and it should be not popular. If you take a track from the radio, which is popular, and you put a kick, it's not hardcore. It's like an adaptation of the pop track with a kick. Hardcore music should be more real, in my opinion. This is my humble opinion. That's it.
Yeah, completely valid. Yeah, but I completely get what you're saying. By the way, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, let's go to the myth.
Okay. Not yet, because you said something that I wanted to ask as well about South America or America. Okay. Where have you played there?
Yep, I played in Mexico. I played in
Perfect.
I'm
from Mexico, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I played in Colombia. I played in Australia. South America, Colombia, and Mexico, actually. I played in Los Angeles many times. I played in New York. South America, again, Spanish people, basically that's the blood.
Yes.
Yeah. The Spanish are, I would say, like, we are cousin, like Italian and Spanish people are really similar.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, it's kind of the same vibe.
Same vibes. Latinos and Spanish people, they are on another level of enjoying life. It is what it is. You can say whatever I want, but it's about that. But also you can notice a little bit that this kind of vibration is south of Italy. North of Italy still, but north is getting a more business. South of Italy and South America, Spain. Spanish people, Latinos are really enjoying life. Are really people that really want to enjoy the moment. And if you bring this to a crowd that are listening to every kind of music, you got a huge result. That's something like, I'm not saying that if I played in Finland and Finland crowd is bad. Not at all.
No, but it's a different vibe. No.
It's about the vibes. Latinos are like this. Italians are like this. If you go to a Dutch festival, you recognize the Italians straight away. You know that guy's Italian. And sometimes it's wrong because we did also bad stuff. But it's about the way we are. We are the way we are. And so when you ask me, I I love to play there. I love to play in South America. Nowadays, just to give you little information about personal life, I'm really getting a problem with the long flights. That's why many guys are asking this. Now, that's why I don't have that much of outside Europe gigs. Yeah. Europe, outside Europe. I can do 2 hours flight, it's fine. When I start to be a long flight, I start to get, I don't know, anxiety or whatever. It's a problem I got since from 4 years, and many promoters write me. I'm like, Andy, we want you in Australia. And I'm like, yeah, man, but it's hard. Yeah, take a fucking pill and sleep. And it's not like that. No, it's not that easy. If it wasn't easy, just take a bunch of pills and go in the plane. It's not like that. So that's why it's sad, because I try to work on it because I miss a lot to play like in South America. I want to, like, if you bring me there, like teletransport me to Bogota, I'm gonna play now. Or Los Angeles, I'm gonna play now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But as you said, for the answer, as you said, for the question, I love that kind of crowd. As I said before, the Spanish crowd, which is pretty similar. It's really dedicated.
Yeah, and what you just said about the anxiety, I mean, it's really a struggle and a problem that most of the people don't see, but most of the artists live using planes all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that it kind of becomes like a big problem for a lot of artists. Because
you totally. I mean, I never had that. I started to get this around 2019. I never had. I didn't care. I just go on the plane, sit, and wait till the end. Never had problem. After 2018, I don't know what's wrong. I had a rough flight from United States, and I don't know. I'm not scared about flight. I don't care. The plane is there. I'm not scared about dying. You know. It's really got this like anxiety when it comes to turbulence or whatever. But it's bad. It's not just finished on the plane. It comes before. So for me, it's getting hard to stay for a long time on a plane. Also, the day before. It's not just in the time I am on the plane, because I'm like, oh shit, I need to go on the plane so I just don't sleep the night. That's a problem. And I of course, I read information about this. It happens. It could be 2 times, or it could be in two situations. Or you fly that much that you don't care, or you fly that much, a lot, that you start to get this problem.
You start caring.
Yeah. And probably is my case, because I fly. I cannot even tell you a number, how many flights I took in my life, and probably is that too much stress on it. And as you said, when the people said, "Yeah, you DJ, your dream life," it's my dream life, because now I'm doing what I love. That's totally true. I will never change it. But if you think about it, the stress of travel is a lot, man. It's a lot. Because when you got also double gigs or whatever, you really got 1 hour to play, and you enjoy that 1 hour, and maybe 1 hour in the club with your fans, and you make pictures, and it's maybe 2 hours of fun against like 25 hours or 30 hours just staying around, bus, plane, and shuttles. And that's something that maybe some people hate. There's maybe a lot of people say, if I bring maybe some of my friends on a trip with me, on the Monday, they will say, how the fuck you do this every weekend? That's it.
Yes.
That's it. But again, that's the worst part of the job, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of artists at some point stop playing.
Yeah.
At least because they need breaks.
They need breaks.
It's really, really hard to... I think that it's a really tough life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not made for everyone.
No.
And that's why also some producers stop, as I said, like doing gigs or something, because they are not made for this.
Yeah.
Now, some other people love it.
Absolutely. But if you see, for example, like a huge names, if you go out from our stuff, if you see like, let's say Timmy Trumpet, which is also playing a lot of our music, is on tour basically all the year. But we are talking about being in South Africa on Friday, and probably on Sydney on Saturday, and in New York on Monday. That's a lot, man.
Yes.
You can be paid as much as you want. Still, you need to be on the plane. You need to be there. I mean, there's no money that can you teletransport you anywhere. So think about it. Think about the stress they got. And if you do not do it, you cannot understand. And or you can imagine. For example, you're talking and you're like, that's really stressful. It's not for everyone, as you said.
Yeah. And do you like, for example, after you play a gig, do you like to party, or do you just want to go home afterwards?
No. I know. When I'm back in the days, like 5 years ago, I like to party too much. No. I'm like, I was the first coming and the last guy leaving every time. And now, luckily I got an amazing girlfriend, an amazing woman with me, which also like make me like think about, you getting not older, but the year are going through, and you can party when you want, but think about it, because life is life, and it's not about it's about also being so tired, if you party, if you really like go to a party every Saturday and get wasted, but not get wasted just drinking, whatever, like you stress your body a lot. And on Monday, you're going to be tired as hell. And how much you need to recover? Because I need to be there. This is the studio. I need to be there. I need to be there for my girlfriend. I need to be there for my family. So, there will come a point that you will say, yeah, I love to party, but you need to understand, if you really want to do it as a job for a long time, you need to find the balance. So I love to party, and I take some occasion to do it. Another time, I'm like, I want to stay, guy, but it's better that I leave, right? That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, but it's good because you have a balance. Because it's as you could just leave partying, like I don't know, maybe at some seasons where you have like a lot of it can cost you a lot of sleep and a lot of health issues. So
man.
I mean, as you said, but it's good. If you have a balance, sometimes you party, but sometimes you can say,
sadly,
okay, maybe I just need to
for example, if I go to DEF CON, I play at DEF CON, of course, you stay there maybe a long time, right? Yeah, because you can see your friend that you maybe don't met for a long time. There's many occasions, okay? But sometimes if you are at a club, and you say to yourself, this crowd is amazing. These guys are really, maybe I am the only headliner. They just organized this for me. So I'm totally great. I want to say thanks to them. So I stay with the promoter, take a drink with him, because I really care. I really care about this, because these guys are giving to us, to artists, our income. So, and they are investing a lot of money to do it. Many times they're investing. So that's a point. I always been in my career. I really can't stand some arrogance of so many artists. I saw many scenes that I don't like it. And every time I saw that, I'm like, I don't want to be like that. So many times it happens that I got bad situation. Like, I don't know, organization was terrible. Okay. The driver was not there. Okay. But they are trying. So please try to understand that they are doing their best probably. And you are there just for an hour to let the people enjoy the music. So be always respectful, in my opinion. That's the best way. Of course, shit happens. So you're going to say, hey, the next time organize things better, but never be an asshole and arrogant boy, because that's something I don't like.
Nice mindset. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about that topic.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were your favorite rock and metal bands?
I need to think about it. No. No. So, if you are talking about new metal, if you're talking about post 90s, probably Linkin Park and the System of a Down, they are the two the most influenced bands, also for hardcore music, in the last time. If you are going really back in the days, 80s, Judas Priest.
Okay.
My favorite album was Painkiller, was from 89, and that was the time when was the year I was born, but I was born in 89, and I read many articles saying that was best heavy metal album ever made. Probably some people disagree, but I love it. Judas Priest, Slayer, definitely Slayer, Iron Maiden, man. I mean, I can say many names, but if the first names comes in my mind, that's Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and Slayer. Yeah, Metallica a little bit, but Metallica getting too much. I don't know, too much cheesy at some point. Yeah, I like the first Metallica album. Yeah, definitely. Like Slayer keep going on the same stuff pretty much. The same violence. Also in the last albums, many other bands go a little bit on pop, which is also a good option. It's a choice. So that's my answer to that. But I really into every kind of unconventional music, like Manowar. I always listen to them, like epic metal, or I don't have like a really favorite band, because there's so much stuff going on there. And also the nowadays metal, I like it. I took a lot of samples from death metal band of nowadays to make music. So I love that kind of stuff. But if you ask me, which is your favorite? Yeah, I mean, Linkin Park. I was growing up with them. As I said at the start of the conversation. Yeah, my sister was like, "Yeah, listen to Numb. Listen to In the End." I was like, wow. I didn't even get the words, but all the construction of the track was unbelievable. Back in the days, was unbelievable. And then when I started to listen to the track of older track, like Judas Priest, I say, wow, like Iron Maiden, like Number of the Beast. I was like, yeah, but what kind of music is this? And so every time, every era, every age got their own highlights, right? So metal always being a part of my musical inspiration. But also hip hop, I listen to a lot of stuff. But metal, of course, is the one close to the hard music. Yeah, it's really aggressive.
Yeah.
What is your favorite? What is your favorite band? Now let's make an interview.
For me, I started with Korn.
Korn. Yeah, I didn't mention Slipknot and Korn. Slipknot and Korn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also Slipknot.
Yeah, man.
It was Korn, then Linkin Park, of course. I think that Hybrid Theory is probably one of the best albums. Yeah,
ever. Also, you heard like the Reanimation, the remix.
Yes.
Yes. Man, it's insane. It's a full remix album. It's insane. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And actually, but after that album, I started to liking them. But for me, it was only the first three albums which were good, and then I started to get more into also epic metal. For example, I don't know. Well, this is power metal. Maybe the Stratovarius, Dragon Force.
Stratovarius, power metal, which is exactly. There's another band. Oh my God, Rhapsody could be.
Rhapsody. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Rhapsody. Also, Epica, Nightwish. It was really good.
Yeah.
Also, Cradle of Field.
Cradle of Field.
I started going.
No, there's a lot of stuff going there. I mean, most of them. There was like sampled in the hardcore. Before it was like illegal. Before was possible. Like electronic music stole a lot of stuff, right? Now it's really hard because there's a lot of copyright claim. But back in the days was easier, right? So there was a lot of the band you mentioned. We used a lot of vocals from them. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about this just because I wanted to point out that I feel that there's like a really strong relation between metal and hardcore.
Yeah, definitely.
But you already said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was amazing for me because when I discovered hardstyle first as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow. And I discovered it when I was 30 years old. I'm 36.
Pretty much the same age as me.
Yeah. So when I first heard it, it wasn't the first time, but it was like the first time that I knew that I was listening to hardstyle. So I was like, wow, like I'm feeling the same as when I first listened to Korn.
That's exactly what I did. That's the same situation. It's nice to hear the same story from and imagine how many thousands of people got the same feeling. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, totally right.
Yeah. It was exactly the same as when I discovered metal. So for me, it was like,
man, when you got
exactly.
That's it.
and I started looking for a lot of music. I felt like really excited about discovering music again, because for the past years, it was. I mean, I love music. I love music. But for example, I really liked EDM, but that's the word liked. I didn't really. I loved it. For example, the only DJs before I started getting into hardstyle that I really, really loved was Vini Vici.
Psytrance.
Yeah, and also Armin van Buuren, trance. But beside those two guys, three guys, it was. I don't know. I didn't feel like that connection.
Especially, I think that we got the same. We are from the same generation. So honestly, also there was something magic in finding new music. Because without, we had the internet, but it was 50, was low as fuck. So you would never just click now and you listen to what you want. But getting in touch with what you're searching for when we were 15, 14 was much difficult. So when you're when I listened the first time to hard music, I didn't even know how to search for something similar. Because how you can search for something?
I get it. Yeah.
What you type, right? Where you go to buy that. But that was the magical part of our generation that will never come back. And so our generation, the guys born in the 80s, there was a name. I don't know. I heard. I've read an article, but there's a name for our generation. Not Generation X. Not that. We are the
millennials.
Last. And millennials is the popular name, but there's like a psychological name, because we grow up with the internet. We grow up in the internet, and we grow up with the step by step with the informatic. I would say with the computer world. We grew up in the same step by step. We grew up as physically, mentally. And the computer science grew up with us. Internet grew up. And that we are the last generation. Because a guy born in 2000 was at 5-6 years old, got already everything on the table. You got the internet, you got fast connection, and they will never understand what was like to start to use Emu, LimeWire to search.
Napster.
That's culture, man. That's really part of our. And something will never happen again. Of course, back in the days there was the vinyl, so it was the same story for people that searching for vinyls. Yeah, but it was magic, because when you found finally a track. For example, one thing. I was a kid, so I go into the club. I listened to the DJ set. And the DJ set sometimes were recorded. So I listened to the recorded set and I was searching for the playlist. I searching for the track list. But no one can answer what fucking track is that at 30 minutes, right? So there was the forum. You remember the forum, where everyone got the topic. Say, which track is at 28 minutes? Yeah. So to get that music, you took 5 days and now you got Shazam. So
yes,
how fast the things are going now? Yeah. So,
it's really impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Also, there's something funny, and I think I saw it probably on TikTok.
Yeah.
But if you think about, for example, a movie from 20 years ago, you can see almost the same, the life is almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
The only difference is that maybe the phones weren't that smart, but besides that, you already have cell phones.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that different. But if you take 2004 to 1984,
that's crazy.
Was completely different, and everyone looked different.
Yeah,
it's really mind blowing if you think about that.
It is.
So, as you said, we were born in the late 80s.
Yeah,
and we were the last generation that was different, and we developed as the internet was developing.
Exactly.
We were growing at the same time, at the same pace.
That's what changed really the humanity in many ways. And also, so it's crazy. And as you said, that's also part of the process of everything we are talking about, music, movies, and whatever. Because movies is pretty much the same situation as music. That's why we got a lack of quality also in that with Netflix and whatever. Bro, I love watching movies. I'm a huge fan of kind of thriller, mind games and whatever. And nowadays, how hard is to find a good movie, man? You already know. Really hard. You already know after 2 minutes it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck so bad. And that's why the same sort, same stuff as music. They have to make the movie because the algorithm of Netflix say that many people like this kind of stuff. How is it possible, man? Where is the heart anymore? That's sad. That's sad. Also for the cinema. And I feel like an old nostalgic boy, but I'm 35. I'm like, how is it gonna be when I be 50? I'm gonna be so like fuck of my times, right? But
that's so grumpy.
Yeah, like grumpy nostalgia. But I'm already like this stuff. I don't know what's gonna. but you know, I think it's not because then really last thing. It's not about our age because people say that. People from the 60s will say 60 will be was the best era. People from the 70s, same. That's totally true. But we're living in a time that there's something wrong. In the like, let's say, in the West, Europe and the United States, there's something wrong in our culture now. I'm not against anyone, not against anything, but there's something wrong. Not sure about what, but the way we are living now, it's not healthy, man. Socials, the way that the music is making, the way that the movies are made, the way that the entertainment is made, is not in the right way, in my opinion. It's becoming dangerous for many generations. It's becoming a little bit toxic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that it's because everything now is measured, is ranked, is how do I say it? Like they need to put a rank on everything to give it a score.
Yes.
So nowadays nothing is really made because it feels like, I want to do this kind of stuff, which is gonna be this authentic piece that must be. It's just like, okay, this is working. This is what people is wanting.
Exactly.
So I gotta do this instead of trying to come up with something new, as you said, with the thrillers. It happens to me as well. Like when I want to see a new good thriller, it's like, meh. Most of the best movies are
from the old one
on the 90s.
Yeah.
The 90s,
they are. They definitely are. And there's no way to change it. That you can talk about for forever. They will say, no, I am the producer, and I swear to God, I put all my effort. Yes, probably. You put all your effort, but then you went to Netflix to share your movie because now you cannot go to the cinema. You go to Netflix, and Netflix said this music is not the way we want it. So it's already killed the process because it's not your stuff anymore. So yeah, what is exactly the same thing we are saying in the beginning with music. It's same exactly stuff, and that's why I'm saying that this era, this moment we are live. It's not in my opinion, it's not the best way. I think something needs to happen to make some balance again, to make good movies, good music, and whatever. But that's also the audience, the people need to start to be more selective, aware. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, Andy, we're about to finish.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna. Yeah,
was a good talk. Was a good talk, man.
Yeah,
I really like it.
Yeah. Me as well. We're gonna do a second part if you want to.
Yeah, we can
later on. Yeah.
We can do
okay,
it.
Perfect.
We can also, but I don't know if you can. I don't know if you got this. I would say this option, but we can also do it with another guy. Like if you do it with like Nashift, because we got many things to share.
That would be amazing.
You know what? I tell you this because we had. I'm gonna send you the link later. We had, before the end of the company I told you in Italy, which was Strepsirm, we had Arco d'Italia TV, which was like a TV show hosted by me and two other guys. Man, it was the best thing that could happen in Heartstate. It was funny as hell. And that the owner, broke up the company in that time. So we didn't have that thing anymore. And I would love to one day to get that back. And nowadays they're gonna call it podcast. Everyone is podcast, right? Dying on the phone, the microphone, saying, "What's the meaning of life?" No, we're not about the meaning of life. It was about like really stupid talk, but it was funny as fuck.
Stupid stuff.
So yeah, as I said, if you want to, I can involve night shift and make
that would be complete. Yep. Oh my god, I would love that.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna talk with him because we got many different stories to tell, and yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna work. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Then yeah, we should organize that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before that,
yeah,
I'm gonna ask you three questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is that what do you usually ask on your rider?
On your rider? Oh, my rider. Oh my god. So now I would like to change it. Like, please give me only water. No, but it was always been Grey Goose actually, and Belvedere. I was always been a vodka guy, and I cannot hide it because if you see all my video clip, the video maker always tried to avoid that. But I was drinking a lot on the stage, so that's it. That was my rider. Yeah.
And did you ever see something crazy about any other artist? Don't tell me their names. Just if you ever saw something really, really crazy that an artist does.
I can tell you my crazy stuff, which are enough. There was Mysteryland. I'm so ashamed to say that. Mysteryland 2017. I don't know what happened, but all the guys before us, we were playing as Brutale. Back in the days, Brutale was you know what it was, Brutale, right? So it was me, the Seeker Squad, and another guy. And on the stage, the fridge, all the artists before us left all their riders. They was all there, and we were the last act. Man, yeah, you just cannot we just took everything, make it like a bucket. And we went to the hotel, man. Jeez, we drink like that's why I'm saying like before. Yeah, I need to just calm down. But that's for example, But we had many. So that's why I'm telling you, we should make like a dedicated interview just about this funny facts.
Oh my god,
there's a lot.
We will. Okay,
there's a lot.
Okay. I'm really, really excited about having that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm going for the next question.
Yeah.
We will save this one for that.
Yeah.
For that talk. Okay. Any advice that you would like to give to new artists?
Okay, that's beautiful. As I said before, be authentic is the only thing now you can do to be satisfied. Depends on the thing you want. If you want to be famous, that's another thing. If you want to be famous, no matter where, you can be famous on Instagram, you can be famous in real life, you can be famous on TikTok or in television. That's another story. Being an artist doesn't mean you're going to be famous. Most of the time, probably it's not going to happen. So if you want to be an artist that call yourself an artist, you need to make art. The art is the result of your brain making stuff the way you want to do it. Of course, there's rules. I mean, everyone needs to learn. If you're making movies, you need to learn how to make a color. If you take pictures, you want to be a photographer, you need to learn lights. Okay, but be yourself, because learn how to fix your quality. Let's say that doesn't mean you need to copy the main guy in that moment. Just be yourself. So, in my opinion, what you need to do is to be authentic, be unique, be the path the way you want to, with the path your effort in music. And let the people understand that you love what you're doing. It looks a lot of like philosophic, but it's the only way to create something real, in my opinion. That's it.
Yeah. And fame is just a consequence that will come if you are
maybe
doing a good job.
Maybe,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, Andy, and now the last question.
Yeah.
This is the only question that I asked to everyone. And
okay.
How would you like to be remembered on the hardcore scene?
Okay. I always tried, and I also try. I think I made it in some way. I did every kind of possibilities in our music. Honestly, I did music from 150 to 240. And it's like 100 BPM of difference between a track and another. So I did everything. And I did it because I really love art music in all the way it is. So many of my loyal fans, like the real old one, said that you are keep doing authentic stuff, like different stuff. Sometimes it could happen that I make a track that is not popular at all, not at all. And I know, and I knew it. I was sure that was not it. I was sure that was not pop up in the market, when I did it and when I released it. I was sure about it. But I was sure that many guys came, like, say, you did something different again. And that's what I like to be, that's something I want to be remembered for, to be, a little bit out of the how to say, off the box, like out of the box. Yeah, but that's me. That's exactly me. I always wanted to be like that. When I was a kid in school, I always was the one. I was always talking. I was always interrupt the lesson because I wanted to be the one that said, "Oh, and he's so funny. He's an idiot. This is crazy." But that's something. It's something about the ego, probably, yeah. But converted in music, I wanted to be remembered for, like, say, Andy Decor was an artist that make they just didn't care about the trend, and that's what I always say to everyone. Like, I got many during the COVID. I did lessons on the computer, right, to pass also to go through the times. So all the guy I had, I don't call students because many of them are like now artists. They work with me. I always be like, guys, yeah, what is popular now? You like it? Don't worry, do it if you like it. But if you don't like it, and if you want to do it yourself, do your stuff. Do your stuff, no matter what. Release your stuff, release your different music. Maybe one day, someone gonna listen to it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, Andy. It was a real pleasure talking to you.
The same for me.
Really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you, man. We are going to metal concert one day together, right?
Yeah. Okay, that would be amazing. Yeah. Maybe to a festival. Yeah. Please.
We're gonna do it. Okay, man. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you also for your format, because it requires a lot of time and can share the ideas of artists. So thumbs up for your work. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you very much, man. And thank you for your time again and for your amazing work. I really enjoyed your music.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See you next time. Ciao.
And see you, everyone. Please. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't understand the time.
To subscribe to my channel. Yeah.
I didn't understand the time.
Please subscribe to my channel. Follow Andy Decor. Of course, you're following him if you're watching this. So just follow me. And see you next time.
Ciao, guys. Ciao.